Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of True Story Live. Back from a long vacay. For us, it was a staycay, and for Glenn, it was definitely a vacay. It's Glenn's Great Adventure. Welcome back, and welcome back to TSL. We're glad to be back, and we're doing an abbreviated episode tonight, just around an hour. Just to hear about Glenn's trip and put some few feelers out there for the direction of TSL, and we'll see how it all goes. It's not super formatted, but we do have a couple things to cover. But first, as always, we'll introduce the panel. My name is Jason. For those listening for the first time, it'd be an interesting broadcast for you to tune in. There we go. Interesting broadcast. Also with me, sorry, I was having some feedback from my own computer. I went to pop the chat out, and usually I always click off the broadcast just so that doesn't happen. And I'm hearing myself.
That was me. Sorry.
No, that wasn't.
Okay.
I had it on my laptop or on my desktop that was playing.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
it was playing on my phone too. Anyway, good.
Well, just blame me. All right. So also with me, since Jen said something, my amazing wife, Jen. Jen, say hello to the peoples.
How to do? Hello, peoples, and so glad to be back here with you guys. I've missed you. It's been nice having the break, but also a little weird because got so used to having our time Sunday nights.
That is
so
true.
It's good to be back.
Sundays felt a little strange sometimes. Usually we have the broadcast Sunday night, and I realize it's Monday for Glenn, but just on this side, and then would realize halfway in the afternoon, oh yeah, we're not doing the broadcast. So, but it was a nice break. It really was. So we're excited to get back into it and introducing the rest of the panel. Let's hear from our friend Marisa in Ohio. Marisa, take a second to say hello to the peoples.
Well, hello everybody, and I'll say hello with the camera on, if I can turn on. Hello everybody, it's great to be back. It was great to meet Glenn. It was nice having a break, but I missed doing TSL. So welcome everybody, and welcome to everybody who catches the replay as well. Looking forward to hearing about Glenn's, not Pee-wee's, we're talking about Glenn's Great Adventure. So it's going to be lots of fun. I can't wait to get hip deep in hearing all about it.
There you go. Good to see you, Marisa. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, the man of the hour himself, Glenn. Glenn, take a minute to say hello to the peoples, or the lack thereof of peoples.
I think the build-up's a little unwarranted.
Okay. Maybe.
So, yeah. All right. Oh, we had fun. Family time's really the best part.
Yeah.
So I get to see them as much as you'd like to. So, yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. You'll have to put the questions to me and I'll happily respond about what I thought of the USA on one of my numerous trips to the USA.
Yeah,
I want to hear about what your favorite part of the USA this trip around was for you.
What do you mean favorite? The naked
women? Like state or yeah, like every place that you visited. Did you have a favorite? And that could encompass like eateries or people you've met or people you talked to, sites that you saw, that kind of stuff.
Okay, we'll get to that, eh?
Yeah, let's definitely answer Jen's question, but
Sure.
for those people that don't know who all went with you, could you just describe who all went on the trip?
Well, first of all, I went with my son Jonathan. We did the whole lot together. Then my brother, who was essentially our, what should I say, our wonderful benefactor.
Yeah.
Who contributed significantly to allow us to even do this. And he was there, and his son was there for part of it, and his son's girlfriend. And everyone got along absolutely famously.
Excellent.
So I will relate one story in advance, which I thought was hilarious.
Okay.
We were in the Amtrak, the rail carrier's room in like lounge in Los Angeles after we came back from the trip, and they had the Olympics on. And there was like 2 other Australians and Jonathan and myself, and there was Americans, and the Olympics are on, and the swimming's on, and America and Australia are racing in one of the races. So the 4 Australians are up shouting their heads off, jumping up and down, and the Americans are sitting there just in the chairs, not saying anything. I think maybe that typifies the culture.
Well, yeah. I think it does, unless it was NFL football. People get pretty excited about that here, depending on what teams are playing. But
of course, but anyway, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Just kind of Americans just kind of sitting back like it doesn't mean much, and that makes sense.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I didn't, but he's these idiots just going crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty typical.
Sure. I mean, the Olympics, they come around every, 4 years, I think?
Yeah.
I can remember some Olympics being a big deal for various reasons, but I remember the 1984 Olympics, and I'm not quite sure exactly why, except that I was in Michigan visiting my grandparents' Gladwin area, and I went fishing with my grandpa. Of course, we did that a lot of trips we went down there, but we were listening to the Olympics on the radio on the way to and from the lake. And I don't know, I think that just stuck in my mind. But other than that, I mean, I remember certain times we won gold medal at the Olympics and stuff like that, but very few specifics. I don't know. I guess the same thing is true about certain Super Bowls. You know, you get that's the whole build up all season for someone to make it to the Super Bowl, and then if anyone asked you any specifics about the actual game, people don't remember. It doesn't stick with you as much, I guess. Anyway, so where does Gary live, and where does Michael live within? I'm assuming that. Well, I know Michael lives in Australia. I'm not sure where Gary is from.
Gary lives in Brisbane.
Okay, Brisbane. All right.
Which is where we all come from originally.
Right.
Jonathan lives out over the range, about 2.5 hours from Brisbane, at a place called Warwick. And I live about 9 hours drive south of Jonathan.
Mm. Now, did you guys all just meet at the airport, or you and Michael meet at the airport, or
no? Not Michael. Michael lives in Canberra. He's my eldest. This was Jonathan.
Jonathan. Sorry, Jonathan.
Yeah,
that's what
Jonathan.
I meant.
Yeah, I know. No, I went to Johnny's the day before, just in case the car broke down, or something like that, in case any unforeseen issues. We just then drove down to Brisbane, jumped on the plane, and went to Sydney. Had to do it on points these days. You've got to be really, lucky to get flights that all line up. My brother had a lot of trouble. He had to do it all separate, and of course then they hit you with all these other charges.
Of course.
So we just went to Sydney, jumped on Sydney. Yeah, really good flight over in a A380, the big plane.
Yeah,
it was refurbed. Can't say the same on the way back. It was disgusting.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. In fact, you answered my question. I was going to ask how the flight was on the way.
Really
and
good.
Contrast that to the one way back.
And the one back, they put a domestic plane on an international route. With virtually no leg room, and you couldn't move, and the seats are clapped out.
Oh, gosh.
And you couldn't. We were all meditating essentially to try to get through the pain. I just couldn't sleep at all. I'm a good sleeper. I don't need any pills, but I just couldn't handle it. It was just like, shocking. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah. Okay, so you're on the plane, and where was your first stop?
Went to LA. What a joke that place is.
Oh, really? Why do you say that?
Immigration, 2.5, 3 hours with over 1,000 people in the line. They didn't have all their staff working on the booths. All this kind of garbage.
Wow.
It's just totally ridiculous. I've never seen anything. Just insane.
You think it's easier for Americans to get in Australia than it was for Australians to get in America?
Oh, crikeys, yeah. Well, it took us 5 minutes on the way back.
Oh, okay.
But we had all the automatic passport. You go straight to the automatic passport scanner. They give you a ticket. You go into the next line, and you just put the ticket in the machine, and then you're out. Then they check you. The main place you will be checked is for quarantine.
Sure.
And you just declare what you got, if you've got anything that you need to declare.
Yeah.
And I reckon, no, seriously, by the time we walked off the plane to out of the airport would have been less than 15 minutes.
Okay.
That's
Well,
collect your bags and everything, bang, gone,
Yeah.
done.
it's way better.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
Way better. So how?
We're more automated.
Oh, sure. That makes sense. So 3 hours in L.A. airport, and then where'd you go from there?
Got on another plane. Oh, yeah, we did. I think it was, I can't remember half the things I do. American Airlines, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we did. American Airlines went to Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
American Airlines are pretty good.
Yeah.
Jonathan fortunately got us into the lounges. That was really good. It
Oh.
put Qantas to shame. So that was unusual, but it was their better lounge because their lower one's pretty useless.
Sure.
But this one was really good. The showers were actually hot,
Oh, okay.
unlike Qantas that are cold.
No, that's
Oh,
not great.
what a joke! If
Okay.
Qantas wishes to contact me and for some feedback, I'd be very happy to answer.
I bet you would. So then you land in Vegas, and then what happened from there?
Well, we just got taxi. Gary had organised a hotel for us,
Okay.
some nice place, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, so we were there for 3 nights. It was bloody hot. It was similar to what a bad like it was similar to summer here.
Oh, sure.
Pretty much at the worst you'd get.
Yeah.
We might get a bit worse, but it was very hot. It was well over 100.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that area.
And I got a bit of a walk because you walk out in the heat and you
Yeah,
go into the aircon, then you keep doing this.
back and forth.
You're back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people got to walk.
Okay.
Not sick, but just annoying.
Yeah. So
Vegas, yeah, it's all right. Nothing.
3 days in Vegas. Now, did you do anything while you were there?
Oh yeah, we went and Jonathan had stuff to do. Went for walks. Went just
Uh-huh.
up the strip. Got the public bus. Did some traversing. Went to the older area of Vegas, which was totally different from the new strip.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So yeah, that was it. That was quite interesting actually. The older
Yeah.
part.
What were your thoughts about the strip? All the lights and glitter, and
Not impressed.
did you see some of it at night or not?
Oh yeah, well out of our
Oh.
hotel window we could see a whole lot.
Oh sure,
Yeah,
So-
it's not my scene, but I've seen
sure.
lights and stuff in Japan way bigger and brighter than that. So
Yeah,
it's just that you're there for people go there for gambling for
yeah,
for other things that are not relevant to me. But look, the one thing it was good is to see it for yourself.
right.
It's another experience.
Sure, sure. You're not much for the one-armed bandits then, huh?
Oh, never. I wouldn't put a cent in those things.
You like horses though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure they have some horses. I would assume they have horse action over there in Vegas.
Oh, they do. It's all on the TV. It's all
Yeah.
on. But I don't know American horses, and I only know a certain group.
Sure, that
So
makes
I
sense.
stick to what I know. But
Okay.
the interesting thing was, as you know, there was a big computer glitch at two or 3 weeks ago.
Well, I'm fully aware. We were affected by that at work.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
when we were walking through like the foyers and all of the interconnecting like pathways between the hotels, we noticed that a lot of their screens had the blue screen and all that the same.
Yeah.
Everything had gone down. The airlines
Yeah.
had gone down.
Yep.
And oh yeah, if we'd been a day later, we would have been in big trouble.
Oh, sure. Well, I heard horror stories from all over the place, and it caused
Yeah.
a ripple effect in just about every kind of business you can imagine, but especially for the airlines and
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that-
travel-
the guy-
travel situation.
The guy at the check-in, he showed us some photos. Of what happened, like when it was on. Oh, what a chaos!
oh yeah, people got stuck and just horrible. Well, it just shows you what would happen if some of the technology that people rely on every day went down.
Yep. You don't have to send rockets into places. Just cripple the
Yep.
electricity system or their computer infrastructure. They're
Yeah.
done. We're done.
Yep, Stone Age
That's it.
all over again.
Yeah.
Okay, so three nights in Vegas, and then what happened then? What was the next?
Flew up to Seattle on Alaska Airlines.
Oh, okay.
Which was they were okay. Alaska, they were no problem. They're
Seattle.
more American carriers are more like budget airlines
Sure.
compared with what we're used to from like the Middle East or I mean generally they're just a different standard. But
Yeah.
no problem. I mean they're okay. They're comfortable. Then of course went to the Amtrak to go to Columbus in Wisconsin.
Okay.
They were that was a am I allowed to say that was a shit show?
Yeah, say whatever you want.
What a joke.
Yeah.
The most disorganised rabble. Oh,
Oh.
disappointing. Yeah. Oh, they had no idea.
Right.
I could have run that place better myself.
I'm sure.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
So that was what four. So from Seattle to the east
when
coast.
we got away 4 hours late.
Oh, 4 hours late. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I was not feeling that well at that point, so
Yeah.
I was sitting in their hard seats, and it was not fun. Anyway, that's okay. Well, the train trip was good.
So 4 days on the train or 3 days?
No, only 2 nights.
2 nights. Okay.
42 hours or something like that.
Okay, and you had the sleeper cabins.
We had the roomette, which is the
Roomette.
not any. That's the one where you basically it's a little tiny contain. It's like a little tiny container.
Yeah.
It's only 3. That's only 3 foot 6 wide. And the headroom's about a foot on the top bunk. So
Sure.
it's just enough to get so you can lay down.
Yeah.
Rather than sitting in a chair. But the chairs in the coach look really comfortable actually.
Oh, okay.
But it was good. Shower and toilet down the corridor. That's fine.
Yeah.
Food was average. Okay. Now the people were. It was interesting that one. The dining people were really lovely. They were really good. Lots of, really got on. No problem at all. And the carriage attendant never spoke to us basically. Really weird.
Oh, that was weird.
I didn't get that one. Anyway.
No.
That was nice. This was a good trip. I enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
Then Gary picked us up. We took us up a couple of hours to Oshkosh, and then we did next couple of days we did the air show, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Gary was doing the driving. I was going to drive if he got crook, but I didn't have to.
Right.
Because I'd driven a fair bit in the States and Canada before, so no issue to me.
Yeah.
So then we
what
went
was
down,
it? Didn't we see it was like 6.5 hours or?
No, it was longer than that. It was like more like, well, was it like 8 hours or 9 hours?
Oh, from Wisconsin.
We went to Newark the next from
okay.
Oshkosh to
Oshkosh.
Newark in
Wow.
one hit. So that was easy. I mean, we're used to driving in Australia, so there's no problem.
Yeah.
Then we went and saw Nez the next morning. Went to the coffee shop, had a chat, met Diana, and gave her a kangaroo, which had filled up my bag.
She loves it. She loves it.
Yeah, so now we're going to switch narratives just for a minute, and we'd love to hear from Marisa on your end, Marisa, how that was for you to get to meet the one and only Glenn from Australia.
Well, I was very, very excited. I was very, very nervous, not so much of meeting Glenn and everybody, but my butt cheeks were puckered because I know Diana's dad. And my sphincter was not going to unbunch until I knew he was there to watch her, so I could enjoy an uninterrupted visit with Glenn. And everybody involved was on time. Thank you, everybody.
Nice.
Involved for being on time. And I purposely told Diana's dad a half an hour earlier, just in case. So,
just in case.
I know
That's smart.
Yeah, I've learned. Like, tell him half an hour earlier. And I come out the door, and it was just about 9 o'clock, and the fellas were there. And I'm like, Glenn! And he walks right up to me, and he's so much taller than me. And he stooped and gave me a hug and gave me a kiss on the top of my head. So, and later, when they were ready to leave, I had to stand on a chair to hug Glenn. I tried to
Oh,
kiss
my
you on the
gosh.
cheek, Glenn, and I think I kissed your ear. So I was reaching for your cheek.
I laughed.
Oh.
I
The
didn't
night
realise that Nez only came up to my knees.
I'm a shorty, I told you. And the night before, I stayed up until I texted Glenn. I said, Glenn, what do you like in your sultana cakes? He's like, oh, don't go any trouble. And I'm like, too late, too late. But I made some little sultana cakes for Glenn to
Yeah.
enjoy,
Oh, wonderful.
Sweet.
and it was a
That was
wonderful
thoughtful of
visit.
you.
And then you
Well,
went.
it was my one chance to do it, and I thought I better do it. So, no regrets. It was lots of fun. Diana was excited. She thought she was going to go for coffee with us. I'm
Right.
like,
Aw.
no, we'll see it when we get back. Mama's going to go talk with Glenn and
Sure.
his family, but she got to have her roux right away, and she was really
Yeah.
happy about that.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh,
So you went to the coffee shop then, and
my favorite coffee shop, which was not a franchise, wasn't
Oh.
Starbucks, wasn't Tim Hortons. I think it's just called Coffee Shack, and
Okay.
it's a little off the beaten path. And they
Yeah.
have nice big furniture to sit on and comfy places to have a quiet conversation. And
Wonderful.
Glenn was talking to some lady in the coffee shop for a good while before I actually got to see him sit down. But I was talking to Gary and Jonathan in the meantime. So
Okay. And
I had a good chat with everybody.
so,
It
what
was
were your
very
thoughts on Gary and Jonathan?
marvelous. Everybody was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Sure.
They represented their country very well.
I'm sure they did. Not surprised by that at all.
Perfect gentlemen, each and every one of them. Yes.
So let me ask you this, Marisa. So I have this theory. I mean, it's great to know people virtually, to know people online and all that, but I feel like it's better to meet people in person if possible. I know it's not always possible, but
Right.
so do you feel like you see Glenn in a different way now that you've actually gotten to give him a hug and have coffee together?
Absolutely. It will never be the same way again, and I
Yeah.
like it much better this way now.
Yeah. Well, I had the same experience because I had met Glenn before, but it had been a long time ago. And then when I met him the second time, when we were all at Jen's house, I really enjoyed it, and it was very nice to sit down and talk and break bread, so to speak. And
Right.
I found it very enjoyable, and it's just a different experience than
Right.
talking online or being on the broadcast and stuff like that. It just changes your perspective quite a bit.
I would like to say hello to Angie, one of my YouTube friends. Hello, it's me, Angie.
It's
Thank
me.
you for bringing by, Angie. Angie, I wanted to say I'm glad you got through. She just had a medical procedure done. So I'm glad everything went well. And
Good.
I love you, Angie, whether you like it or not. Nothing you can do about it. Thank you for coming by, Angie.
Yeah, welcome, Angie, and also my friend John Robb from California too stopped in.
Yes,
we didn't know what to expect. We've been gone for a while, so people probably didn't see the notifications and all of that. But we decided we were going to do this anyway, and then it'll be kind of an in-between broadcast before we roll things back up next week. But I feel like this is going real well. Love hearing about the trip. And so what was your impression then, Glenn, of meeting Marisa in person for the first time?
I think Nez was pretty much what I expected.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Is that good or bad, Glenn?
That's what I was wondering.
No, that's not bad at all. I just think you were true to type.
Yeah.
I think I was interested because you. Oh, hang on. What?
Go.
Oh, Sandra's in trouble. I'll be
All right.
back.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
We heard that too. I was like, who's yelling?
I thought it was
Coco
Coco.
is his kitty,
I thought it
Angie.
was-
He's got to
no,
go
I-
take care of his.
I thought.
They're so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have a sitcom.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know and have never heard this before, Glenn and his wife are they're very much in love. But when I saw them in person, and they had rented a hotel here in Fort Mill, and I was just hanging out with them, sort of, and the way they talk to each other, I was like, oh my gosh, it kind of takes you aback, or at least it did for me a little bit. And then, of course, you realize that different couples have their different ways, and it's not necessarily the way I would I would talk to my wife, but they do
But it
it to
works
each
for
other.
them.
It's they seem like they're bickering, but it's really not. It's just I don't know.
Banter.
Maybe it's an Australian thing. I don't know. I mean,
It's all good fun. I understand. Angie, if you're still here, thank you for coming, and I'm glad you got through your procedure okay. And my daughter got to meet Glenn as well, and Glenn brought her a stuffed kangaroo with a joke all the way from Australia.
Aw.
Survived customs and everything, so
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
it's lovely. Thank you for coming by, Angie. I love you.
is there a picture of the stuffed
Yeah, it's
animal?
in the picture, the group picture
shared it.
that Nez sent.
Yes, I
So-
shared it.
I'll have
So,
to take
yeah,
No, I just
Diana's
didn't- I
holding
didn't-
it.
I didn't see it. I'll have to take a closer look at it.
I'll share that with everybody later on YouTube. My editing software was acting up, and I didn't like what I uploaded, so I'm gonna try again, and
Oh, I
do
see
a
it.
short so everybody can see. So
I see it. How cute! How cute is that?
Right.
she's as tall as me. She's just about as tall as I am.
Wow! Wow! That's a really wonderful pic. I love it. I love it. Great.
Glenn, is Sandra okay?
Yeah, she's a pain in the backside.
Oh boy.
You can say ours.
I told her, I said, you've been a bee ever since I got home. And I said, why are you taking it out on me? And she said, well, I can't take it out on the cat.
Well, she
I
could.
said, well, that's fair enough. I get it. She said, you went away and left me. I said, oh, gee, that's a bit rich.
Guilt and shame.
Guilt.
Guilt and shame.
I have been named and shamed.
Uh-oh. You know who's
then
got to
I'll-
come
I'll-
out if there's guilt and shame? Where is he at?
Yeah,
That's,
you gotta find
yeah,
that.
I understand. I understand why, but
Sure.
you don't. You warn someone not to walk up the stairs, and 2 days later they do it. And
Did
fall on their
somebody
face
say
like,
guilt
"Duh."
and shame? I'm right here. Dr. Phil, nobody asked for you. Get on out of here.
How's
What a
that working
joke.
for you?
What a joke. Okay, I was just you want to go back to, I don't know what you said, but I'm going
Yeah.
back. Yeah, Nez, I thought you were just like you are on here. Really,
Yeah.
except shorter, because it's hard to imagine someone that short.
Yeah,
I'm 4'10 now. I
Oh,
shrank.
wow. It's like,
410.
yeah, so, no, but other than that, no, I thought you were just, like, hilarious, actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought
thank you.
hilarious, yeah, funny, but also it was apparently obvious that you do it tough.
Mm.
I mean, being real,
Sure.
you've got a lot of stuff on your plate. And it's tough
Yeah,
without much support, and I think it shows for everyone the value of having loved ones around you when
Yeah.
you need help is so
Right.
beneficial. When you haven't got it, you
Sure.
can
It's
feel
hard.
that emotional context, and I was very appreciative that Nez showed it
yeah.
what she was feeling. I thought it was just absolutely lovely.
Oh, wonderful.
It was even more intense sharing in person than it is when we're
Yeah.
here
Oh, I'll
on
bet.
the show or, just privately in conversation,
Sure.
on Messenger. It was just very powerful, very intense, very positive, and I hope I get to see you again, Glenn. This time on your turf and not mine.
Yeah, that'd be.
That would be
that'd be
fine.
nice.
And I know I was feeling it. I think I said to Gary and Jonathan after I walked out. I was probably holding it together well, but feeling your energy, I was emotional about it, even if I mightn't have shown it.
I'm going to be starting crying here right now in just a minute. Hello, Celine.
Hello, Celine.
Don't cry.
Welcome.
Don't cry. If you cry, I
good.
cry.
I
But
know,
that's-
I might. I better go off camera, so I'm going to start to cry.
Okay.
It's all good. But that's part of life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Just
Yeah.
learning to being willing to show your emotions is just beautiful.
Yeah, I think it is beautiful, and it's a shame that men, especially, are taught. Well, women are guilted and shamed about it. You're too emotional or too sensitive or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful to see anyone share their emotions. To me, it makes them feel more real than if they just act stalwart and
Yeah.
you know
That's a
hold
good
everything
point.
in. I trust someone that's able to express their emotions better.
Especially in person. You can
Yeah.
BS to some extent behind a keyboard and a screen, but when you're right there with somebody, what are
Yeah,
you going to do? You
right,
know,
exactly.
and why would you? I wanted to be genuine, and I felt comfortable.
Get
I didn't have a bit of nervousness.
get off the
It was
keyboard,
just,
Coco.
what? What'd you say, old man? What now?
Coco,
Get off the keyboard,
Coco,
Coco.
Oh,
Coco.
he's yelling.
He's
Okay, I
been
thought he was yelling at me.
he's
No.
been a pest. He won't leave me alone ever since I got home.
Well, you left him too, Glenn. You didn't just leave Sandra.
I know.
You left Coco too.
They've both got separation issues.
Yeah, Coco
Uh-oh.
doesn't forget. Either of them.
Yeah,
Either of them don't forget.
that's right. You bet.
So you hung out the house a little bit, and then you went for coffee. And I know what Glenn drinks, but I don't know if they had. Do you carry your tea around with you, Glenn, or did you have
Oh,
something
usually, but I just had hot chocolate, I think, didn't I?
else? Hot chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
I
it
don't drink coffee, so it'd be
right?
hot
No.
chocolate or
I
or
just
tea.
had an iced tea. They
Iced
offered
tea.
me to get whatever I want, and they have a nice selection of sandwiches and salads
Oh,
and
okay.
things like that too. But I was so amped up I couldn't eat a thing.
Oh,
It
sure.
was all I could do to have my tea.
Sure. And so you'd spend some time at the coffee shop, and then
Yeah, a
want to
couple of
go.
hours, I reckon. It would have
Couple
been a
hours?
while.
Well, that's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Couple,
Would have been a
almost
while.
3,
Almost
Oh,
3 hours.
almost 3.
There you go.
I think
Oh.
that's interesting too when you're hanging out in person and just time flies by. That happens sometimes on TSL. Like I'll look up and see how that we're almost at the button, and sometimes it doesn't seem like it's been that long. But it's even better in person. Like I said, in my
Right.
opinion.
And I've had quite a few meetups over the years, and even though relationships change, or some people I don't get to talk to anymore for what various reasons, every meetup I've had has been wonderful.
Yeah.
In the moment, right then and there, to me at least, they've all been wonderful. I don't regret any of them. So this was the best one. They just keep getting better and better.
Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's saying a lot. There's a lot to be said about that. That you have had good experiences. So then the coffee shop, and then was that it, or was there
We went
more?
back, drove near his home, and I'm not sure what the gentleman's name was.
Rod, that's
Diana's
Diana's
father.
dad.
I forgot
We're not
that. sorry.
together anymore.
Right.
I think
But
he
he was kind
he
enough
in-
to watch her.
He
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was kind enough to watch her so I could be free to go hang with Glenn
That was
and
really
his
good.
brother and his son. Very nice of him, yes. Very nice.
Yeah.
I was
And I gave
surprised.
Glenn one of my paintings. I
Oh,
had
you
a
did, and
Japanese
I'm
koi painting I did for him.
Wonderful.
And I sent some handmade jewelry back for Ms. Sandra. And
Yeah,
gave
no,
Glenn some
Lovely.
Toscana cakes. So,
I'm holding on to it till she's in a better mood.
oh.
You never know, it might cheer up.
But thank you, Glenn. I hope we didn't go into
but she
sugar
might throw
shock.
it at me as well.
She might chuck it at you. Oh no. Yeah, hold off.
No, she's all, look, she'll be fine. No, she's just look. You know what it is when you disabilities are very hard to bear, and when you
Oh, of course.
when
Yeah.
you take someone out of a picture who does a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and you realise that
How much they
you
do.
really haven't got a lot that you can do. It really,
Yeah.
I think it really hits you home, and that's to be expected.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not personal. She'll be sweet.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that Nez thought I wasn't as serious. I mean, on TSL, I'm not my true self.
Right.
We talk about serious issues.
Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
He's much more fun in person than I thought he was going to be.
Well, I could have told you that. I could have told you that.
I was a little bit sus. Back
Yeah.
there, a little bit wondered.
I think you probably found the three of us were pretty much laid back.
Yeah.
Very.
All right. So you leave Newark, right? And
Yeah.
then where to
go
from
to
there?
Dayton and then did the Air Force Museum on
Okay.
an afternoon, and the next morning it was brilliant. It's really great. It's really
Okay.
well organised, well set out, amazingly informative. So it got to big
Wonderful.
people that told me all along. I said, "Oh, you got to go there. It's really great." So we did it, and it was justified.
Okay.
So after Dayton, we just drove back outside of Chicago to Mount Prospect, which
Oh
is
yeah.
out there, and Gary was going to go flying. The day after we left, we went to Chicago. We all went into Chicago on the metro. That was all easy, and he was going to go flying next day, but it got canned because the weather was bad. And then, our trip to the Grand Canyon in the helicopter got canned.
Yeah.
Terrible weather out there. They couldn't go, and then so we went. When we were at the air show, he said, "Oh, jump on this helicopter." Well, that was a bit weird. I'd not been on a helicopter before. So that was fun. That was really good.
All right.
So after that, John and I got on the train in Chicago and went to LA.
Back to
On
LA.
the train, and the scenery is absolutely beautiful, stunning.
Oh
in
sure.
New Mexico and places like that, but oh my goodness, the
Yeah.
rails are shocking.
Sure.
They need to be maintained better.
Yeah.
You just get thrown around like corks in the ocean. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Did you get to see the Grand Canyon from the air? I've only seen it from the air.
No.
Oh.
Couldn't see any of it because we couldn't. There was no point. The weather, thunderstorms out in the valley. You can't fly helicopters when there's
Yeah.
weather.
Yeah.
So it is
Well,
what it is.
I didn't get to see that from a train, but I saw it from helped my friend John and his then wife move to California, so we were in vehicles then. And then when I came back, I rode a Greyhound, which is an interesting thing all of itself, but didn't have a chance. But what you're talking about, the scenery I saw, even on the Greyhound, was beautiful. I did happen to see the Grand Canyon from the air once. Been a long time ago, but beautiful country. I think we took the northern route on the way to California, more northerly route, and then the southern route on the way back. So Texas and New Mexico and Colorado and all that stuff.
Yeah, stunning.
Yeah,
scenery.
beautiful. So back to LA, and then were you there for any more time, or did you have to?
No, we just had to wait for the plane at night time.
Right. Okay.
Which unfortunately was another shit show, as I said.
Yeah, just not super
What a
great.
joke. Oh, that's that.
Right.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody to have to deal with that ordeal.
No.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned something to me that this time was a little bit different. I mean, you've been to America a few times, and you shared with me that this time it seemed a little. Well, use your own words. You want to talk about that real quick, and then we'll.
I think the energy of the place was, more particularly the people, was different. Some other times, like post 9/11, you could feel the vulnerability, of course, as you would expect. That you've just had a couple of planes fly into, and people became much more introspective. Closed down.
Sure.
We're not necessarily. We're vulnerable. It's like we are not immune. Just because we're America doesn't mean we're not. Then a couple of other times, people like after the GFC. Well, obvious. That's pretty obvious. but when I came in 2008, when I was there with your mum, I thought people were pretty uptight.
Yeah.
That would have been late 90s.
Sure.
When I was there with yourself and Jen, I thought, well, maybe I didn't meet that many people then. But it just didn't seem to have the same energy.
Right.
It didn't. It really wasn't. It wasn't something I'd come home and get off me coke. And pulled my headphones off. Come down.
Like, spend time with me.
Oh,
my
not
gosh.
24/7.
Mari came out to meet Glenn. Stella was hiding.
So
Sure.
yeah, okay. So but this time people were much more open. I thought. I thought they were very friendly. They didn't appear to like. It didn't appear like. Despite what. See, this is what happens if you. Sometimes you listen to the news and it's not representative of what you find when you go and
Right.
So true.
Yeah, that's true.
So I thought people were very friendly, very open. Generally, I think. I thought I related much better this time than any other time I'd been.
Oh, wonderful. That's
I
great.
thought we could be weird Aussies, and people sort of embraced it. They didn't mind it at all.
Huh.
So.
Well, imagine that.
No.
I was a little bit apprehensive about them spending time in Nurk, Ahia, because some people don't take so kindly to people from other places, and I was just concerned that Glenn and his family were going to run into some not as friendly type people, if you get my drift. But
Sure.
Glenn, I believe you said everybody that you ran into in my part of the world was okay.
Yeah, fine.
So
I'm
glad.
Really good. Really good. I didn't find we met people from like the deep south. I met California.
Yeah.
Up north. We met from all over the place.
Yeah.
I think they were, it was very interesting. We had lots of talks about where it was possible, about what's going on in your country regarding the political situation. That was quite fascinating.
I bet it was.
Most people were prepared to talk. Coco, please. Oh. He says,
Coco is our comedic relief tonight.
Yeah, can we put him on the panel?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Come on, Coco. What was I saying? Yeah, I noticed that the people who were, I don't know what's the general feeling. Well, I had one guy who I was talking to after the air show. We were going back in the bus, and he was saying about Mr. Trump politely, and he said, we just said, well, one of my lines was, which I use and which was very interesting responses. Well, you're supporting a person that's an abuser of women, because I think that's really important. And I know in this country, there's no way any abuser of women would even get first base to get into, to be eligible to run for politics. What? No, they wouldn't be entertained in 4 or 5 seconds.
Right.
And people didn't care about it.
Yeah, they don't seem to.
I just couldn't believe it. I thought, hang on, what? So it was completely surprising that people didn't appear to think that was relevant.
Yeah. Well, they tried to make it relevant when he was running the first time, and didn't. Some people seemed to care, because that was during the Me Too thing that was going around in the United States.
Yeah.
And so I think they were trying to carry some of the momentum of that to discredit him from. But it was from the past. Even at that point, it was from the past. But they, when you run for politics, they drudge everything up. And that's why you're vetted when you run.
It was more. I think there was apathy in the sense that it's this the frustration that when Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump were the two candidates, that's the best you got.
Yeah.
Like two old guys to run the country. And I think that was the main thing.
Sure.
And the guy that then said, well, God chose Trump because he chooses imperfect people. But I mean, hang on, we're all imperfect. I couldn't understand that comment.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Crazy.
people were open, pretty flexible. People, there was a lady from Tennessee, deep south. Oh no, there's no way they were going to entertain Mr. Trump, and yet you had others from California that liked him. There was nothing consistent. Very interesting to hear. Totally different political sort of situation from here, where we have only 6 weeks maximum to have an election. That's it. It's all done and dusted. Come back in 4 years. None of this public donations. I raised $300 million. I'm thinking, this is bonkers. All that money could be used for such creative and better purpose.
Oh yeah, homeless problem
Exactly.
for one thing. Yeah,
billions of dollars just
yeah,
in advertising, and it's all smoke and mirrors.
Sure. Oh, I would agree. That's a topic for another time. It is all smoke and mirrors.
But interesting for sure.
Right. So obviously you're home and hopefully recuperating from your long trip, and I'm glad you got a chance to go, and glad you got a chance to meet up with Marisa and stuff. And so
you bet. So there you go.
We'll do it again. All right. So thank you, Glenn, for sharing all that with us. So we just got a couple things to cover real quick before we call it a night. And I do appreciate the few people that showed up. And if you're listening to the broadcast, I appreciate you stopping in and giving a listen. We will return next week with a more regular scheduled programming, so to speak. We just wanted to just kind of come on and talk about the trip a little bit. So two things. The first thing is, Jen, do you want to tell people about your job, or?
Yeah. So I've been without a job for like 2 months?
Almost 3. Almost 3 months.
No, it would be 2.
May, June, July.
No, I started the first job. I started the end of May.
Oh, okay.
And so it was just about
Maybe
the beginning of June. Yeah, it just seems longer. That's for sure. Yeah. Which that particular job did not work out.
No,
it was definitely for a type A person, and I was kind of thrown in this position at the last minute and didn't realize how much to the job that was needed for the person in the position. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I've been doing eBay sales, and that's actually been really beneficial money-wise. And I just got hired to be a nanny again. Yeah. So I wasn't necessarily planning on going that direction again, but I was sort of open, been like applying places like crazy throughout the summer.
Yeah.
And just to see what was available. And I almost got a job with a company doing senior care, which I was like, okay, it's kind of in the same realm as nannying. It's just the other side of life.
Right.
And my heart very much is with seniors. When I was younger, I would have had a harder time with it because I was terrified of death. But I'm in a completely different place now. And so I thought, this would be really, really good to give back and just pour into people, which is something that I love to do with any particular job or any action per se. Yeah. But there were some red flags with this particular company, and I was kind of like, and then once I took the job after I finished my second interview and drug tests and background check and all that stuff, I ended up getting a response to a family that I had applied for a private nanny job for a family in Tikakay, which is like 30 minutes from here, near Fort Mill, where we used to live. And I met with the couple this past Monday night at Starbucks and got to visit with them and ask questions, and they asked me questions. And then I got to meet the kids this past Thursday night, and that was just wonderful. We went out for ice cream, and it's 3 kids, 12, 10, and 5. And they're just adorable and very respectful, very sweet. Yeah. And I think they had a couple of other candidates kind of on the docket. Right. And they just had a discussion with their kids, and supposedly things went off without a hitch, and the kids liked me best. I was like, oh, so they called me on Saturday and let me know that I got the job. And so that was really, really cool. I'm really excited.
Yeah. And after you got the initial, when they responded to you last Saturday, you had made the decision not to take the other job. And as you said, there were a lot of red flags. And one of the red flags was they advertised the job for, I think you said $15. Then when you met with her the first time, she said between 14 and 16. And you were making a concession to do that kind of work based on your pay from your last job. But you had been willing to do it because you felt like it was a hard thing for you to do that kind of work and to pour into elderly people and things like that. But then when you heard back from the family, you decided that that job wasn't going to work out for you. And then even before you got the news that they picked you, which I was glad that you did that, because I didn't think that job, with all the red flags that I saw. Of course, I would have been supportive either way.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit of a risk,
Yeah.
but it worked out.
Yeah, and it was so funny because when I took the job with the senior care, I had this feeling. I was like, I think there's going to be other people that are going to respond to my resume, because I had been applying other places, and I was like, I've had this weird feeling that someone's going to contact me after I take the job with the senior care. And that's exactly what happened on Saturday. And I was like, we were doing our devotions, and I was sitting there and I got the message from Indeed, and I kind of smirked. I was like, of course, of course this could happen. So, so anyway, I got to talk to the mom on Saturday before we left town. And I just was kind of chuckling to myself, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it just goes to show. I mean, you do the best you can do. It's like my mom said, go as far as you can see, and you can see further. Yeah, it was one of those types of situations there.
Yeah.
But we're super thrilled she got the job, and we're very excited over here. So the thing and before I say anything, we're just discussing this. Nothing is set in stone, but her schedule is going to be, she has to be there at 7. Is that right? In the mornings?
Yeah, on Monday mornings.
Monday mornings. Now, I'm used to this because I have to, when I have to work in the office, I get up at 6, so we have our time together. Then I have to leave the house by 7. But this is different, to be there by 7. Having to get up a little bit earlier than
especially
normal.
with the drive.
Right. So what we're considering is doing the broadcast an hour earlier. And so we're just want people's opinions, and also I know that this is going to be harder on Marisa because Diana's still up sometimes, and that doesn't work out super well sometimes, I don't think. But we're just talking about it, see how everyone feels about the possibility of starting an hour earlier. Because here's the thing,
or some other options. It doesn't have to be that. Or other
options. It doesn't have to be that. Yeah, but it doesn't work out as much for Glenn to do it. We thought about doing it Saturday night, but then Marisa has her show on Saturday night. Sometimes that would be a lot to add that onto the plate. And then Glenn has a social situation with folks from the church in his area that he likes to do sometimes as well. And I thought Friday night, I forgot why Friday night didn't work. But so there's a couple different options. We're just going to be toying with the idea over the next few weeks, or I don't know. We're going to be toying with it. But we put it out there to you if anyone listening has an opinion, or whether it would make sense to start an hour earlier or another night. It's a little harder to do it during the week for me, just because it's also early for me to get up. And when we do the broadcast,
we'll have some discussions.
Yeah, we'll have some discussions. So I don't know how to segue this. Jen, do you want to talk about a little bit what's been going on in your heart? Or
well, I think it might be a little too late.
Might be.
Yeah. I'd rather share when we have more time to chat.
No, that makes sense. I was just putting it out there. I know it is a little bit late, so we can do that another time.
I'll just say, if anybody has had issues with their mind going crazy almost 24/7, I've just had some serious breakthroughs this summer with getting my mind in order and getting some serious peace. Yeah. And the change has just been incredible. So
that's a good way to put it. This time has been, you would agree, Jen, this time between the last job that you had and this job, a couple of months that you were doing eBay and applying for jobs and lots of stuff coming up. for you has been positive all the way across the board.
It's been a godsend, to be honest, which is so
Yeah.
weird to say because usually that's a very stressful time for people.
Right. Right.
But doing some self-care and self-digging, and it's just really been beneficial on so many different levels. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, and it has had a positive effect on me too. I really only have one kind of anxiety, and that's with finances. And I've discussed that a little bit. And so we can't afford to have one income.
Yeah.
We just can't. I wish it were the case. I wish it was the 1950s and I worked, and I don't really wish that's what I was going to say. that Jen stays at home and cleans and cooks, and you know, I bring home the bacon, so to speak. But it's just not a reality. At least for us, it's not. And we were blessed to have. I was telling Marisa before the broadcast that I had just gotten my quarterly bonus, which was about $800, a little less than that after they jerked the taxes out of it. But I'm not complaining. It was really good timing, and the way my checks fell when I would get a check over the past 2 months, they happened right before rent a couple times, which is good. So we've been making it, and plus Jen mentioned eBay. You know, that has helped as well. But the point I'm getting to is with all the stuff that Jen's been working through, it has had a positive effect on me too. And really, from my perspective, it's about changing your mindset and changing your perception of the way you view things. That'd be the most simplified way I would say it for me. And
Yeah.
it usually is really stressful when we don't know how much we're going to have to be able to pay rent. And when both of us were working, it's still, we have months where it's super tight if the car breaks down, and I'm sure a lot of people live like this. This isn't going to be a surprise to anybody. People struggle with finances, and I've been working on it over time. But it is the one thing that I get a pit in my stomach kind of thing. But this past 2 months, I mean, I had it come up a couple times, but because of this mindset change and being more focused on the present, trying to live in the present and not worry about potential disaster that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
It's been really good for me. So things Jen has been working on has had a positive effect on me as well, just all the way around.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful 2 months, and as I said, I'm grateful that she's going to be having income, and so it's just getting through where we are today to first check coming in. But we've made it thus far, so I don't have any reason to think that we're not going to make it to that point. So I guess that's all I have to say about that.
I just wanted to add that if anyone thinks that this is easy, think again. Like Jen had, yeah.
I had some moments.
Well, sure.
Like,
it's hard,
and I'll get into that more. Yeah, but it's worth it.
It's hard because we've talked a lot about being programmed. We're programmed, in my opinion, by schools and
parents and
news and
society.
Politics. Yeah. And if you want to change that, if you come to a point in your life where you realize, hey, some of this isn't working for me, it's just not working. And so to change that, it's a lot of work. And when we talked to Glenn a couple of months ago about this very topic, and he warned Jen, he said, this is not easy. I was there, I was listening to the conversation. And he said, this is hard going for a while, but it'll get easier. And that was 100% accurate.
Yep.
So we'll go into more detail. I don't know what that looks like as far as the write-up for next week, but there's a lot to talk about, and we'll get into all that. And hopefully you guys will enjoy some of that and hopefully get something from it. But we'll start that next weekend. So thank you, Glenn, for sharing your trip and for Marisa's view of her time with you and getting to meet in person. And we will be back again next Sunday. We'll probably start at the regular time. We'll talk to Jen and see, because that's her first day. Actually, her first day is Thursday, but it's kind of a meet and greet kind of like orientation on Thursday, but then she starts
Yeah.
Monday. So we don't want to go too late Monday until we decide what to do about the time. But we'll talk about that off air and see what works best for everybody and see if we can't make some adjustments. We'll keep you all appraised. So thank you again for the few people that came tonight, particularly Rob and Celine and also Marisa's friend, Angie. Thank you guys. And we missed you. We missed you all. And hopefully we'll catch up next week and we'll go from there. Marisa, would you like to be the first to? No, I don't. No, don't do it like that.
We're out of sync, right?
Yeah, we're out of sync for sure. I'll say goodnight first. Good night, everyone. Thank you again for being here for this shorter broadcast. But I loved hearing about Glenn's trip, and we're excited to get back into the swing of things. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you next Sunday. Jen, would you like to take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples?
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to be back. Oh, I feel refreshed and rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Ready to dab back in, hip deep or more. Or more. Yeah, up to our next. Come on. Yeah. Let's just douse ourselves. Yeah, it was great to be back. Loved hearing about the trip, Glenn, and you and Nez meeting and all the details with that. I'm just really glad you guys got to meet. There's something really special about getting to meet people online and then meeting in person. It's very, very special. So I'm glad that happened. And Glenn, hopefully Coco will get some of your attention when you get offline. Coco and Sandra.
Yeah.
All right. Night, guys. See you next week.
Good night. Thank you, Jen. Glenn, take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples.
Yeah, sometimes it's better if people want to get your attention when they just don't want their lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got to laugh, but yeah, it's true at this point. So I'm glad that we had that chat tonight. Ease back into it.
Yep.
And we'll see what's coming up.
All right.
Look forward to it.
Thanks, Glenn.
Good night.
Good night, Marisa. If you could say good night to peoples and close us down.
Absolutely. Thanks again to everybody who came by tonight, whether you participated in the chat or not. And thank you to everybody who shares the stream out on your social media if you're so inclined. And thank you to everybody who catches that replay. And I'm looking forward to jumping in all the way over our heads next Sunday.
Yeah.
On True Story Live. It was wonderful to meet Glenn and his family members in person. And I hope to meet them again on their turf at some point, God willing. That would be wonderful as well. But thank you, everybody. God willing, we'll see you next Sunday, right here on True Story Live.